Hello, hello, hello. This is Gresh from the I Am CEO podcast, and I have a very special guest on the show today. I have Lorena Tomasini of MALM. Lorena, it's awesome to have you on the show.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Super excited to have you on, and what I want to do is just read a little bit more about Lorena so you can hear about all the awesome things that she's doing. And Lorena Tomasini is the owner of MALM Life and Health Insurance Agency located in Miami, Florida. Being in the insurance industry for 12 years and part of a mother-daughter duo helping other families and business owners with financial protection. She is also the host of the 12-Minute podcast where she interviews other business owners and entrepreneurs on how they help solve problems. Lorena, are you ready to speak to the I'm CEO community?
I'm excited. Yeah, let's do this.
Awesome. Let's do it. So the first question I had was to hear a little bit more about what I call your CEO story and what led you to start your business.
Sure. So back in 2006, I was studying business administration in college, and I was looking for something to do that had more flexible time than the regular 9 to 5. And my mom needed some help in her business at the time, which I didn't know my mom was an insurance agent, to be honest. And so I started as her appointment setter. And then I went with her to one of the appointments I had set up for her to see what it was that she did. Since then, I thought it was something easy that she did. She helped families, and it was just filling out paperwork. So I then decided to get my license, and ever since then, we've been working together doing that. So I do have a degree in finance, but have my own business since 2006, I guess, with my mom.
Nice. That's an awesome story, and being able to work with your mom and learn from, everything that she's been able to do, and also be able to start out from the bottom up. It sounds like from starting out with appointment setting and now actually helping out families yourself. So I know you touched on it a little bit, so could you talk a little bit more about what you're doing with the mom?
Sure. So what we do is we help families and also business owners with financial protection. And that can be anything from health insurance and then also life insurance as well. If somebody passes away, obviously to have some income replaced. And then on the individual side, as well as in case of a critical illness or chronic illness like cancer, heart attack, or stroke, people can also use part of that death benefit while they're living to help them pay for their regular bills. And then with business owners, we help them out with group plans for their employees like health and critical illness. And then we also help the employer with tax-deductible life insurance that they can use to supplement their retirement income in the future tax-free.
Nice. And I always hear, and I don't know if you can definitely speak to this, that a lot of times, people aren't prepared for those sometimes big catastrophes that happen in their lives, whether it be health or deaths. And a lot of times because they're not prepared for it, it can sometimes be catastrophic to individuals, but also to businesses, I imagine too.
Definitely. So one of the things, on Facebook we see a lot is like Gofundme pages. And I think that's great. But to me, that's kind of like the modern day passing a hat around the church, because unfortunately that family wasn't financially prepared. And that's exactly what these products are there for. So that if that does happen, the family doesn't have to go around asking people, strangers basically for help with that. And it's really about taking financial responsibility. We don't really realize the financial impact that just a diagnosis of cancer, for example, has not only on that person, but on the family. Because nowadays with all the advances in medical treatments, right, a lot of times people survive them, but financially we're not really ready for what that would mean. Sometimes families have to take time off work to help the person going through that, and the person that was diagnosed as well. If somebody's like a teacher, as an example, you can't go teach your regular job and then go do chemo or vice versa. So these products, what they really do is help people be prepared financially if something does happen, that they don't have to worry about, man, how am I going to pay my mortgage this month, or the electricity, or stuff for the kids, right? And then, hopefully they will survive that, but they'll be left off better financially than maybe they were before.
Yeah, absolutely. And no, that's a great point, especially with all these advances in technology and health and everything. A lot of times, those illnesses or things that would happen, someone would pass away. But now, people are living, like you mentioned, there's so many other variables that you don't think about. Like you're not going to be able to go to work. The person who's taking care of you may not be able to go to work too. And all those things start to kind of, hit the financial aspect of families and,
Hmm.
and couples and everybody that's involved in that.
Definitely, and especially because unfortunately nowadays many people don't have much in their savings, and maybe you had those savings set aside for something else, a vacation or something else. So that's why these new life insurance policies, they have living benefits built in. It doesn't cost much more than a traditional policy, but it's definitely something to have included because you never know what might happen, right? Death, unfortunately, is part of life.
Yeah.
We're not, if we're born, eventually we're going to pass away someday. But it's also planning what happens along the way to be prepared for anything that might happen, whether good or bad, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It's always about beginning with the end in mind, and we all will have the
mhm.
same end. So it's important to kind of understand that and take the steps for yourself, but also for your loved ones and your family that's around. And I wanted to ask you a little bit more about what I call like your secret sauce. And this could be what you feel like distinguishes you or your organization, but what do you feel kind of sets you apart?
Sure. I think one of the things that sets my agency apart from others is that we actually do everything virtually. So we have what we call a 3D process, and it's basically we first define what it is that the individual or the business is looking to solve. We do this via phone or video chat like how we're doing now, however the person feels more comfortable. So after that, as a professional, I'm a broker, so I represent different insurance companies to find the exact solution, the best solution for the individual, the family, or the business owner. And then third, what we do is we send out like a video call where we go over all the different options available and explain all the details. And then from there, it's up to the person to decide, what they want to do, if they want to look at different options. And then we do electronic applications. So that makes it very simple for the person as well. The reason we do this, I've been doing this for 12 years and my mom even longer since 1980. So between both of us, a lot of years of experience. But we know what it's like showing up at someone's house at 7, 8 o'clock at night, and they're there like, oh man, I forgot you were coming today, and let me clean the table here so you can sit. So it's, for the client, it's kind of like, oh, okay, um, it's more convenient for them to watch a video call since we're so used to video. The other good thing is that a lot of times people will say, oh, I can't meet this day because my spouse won't be there or my business partner won't be there. So with the video, you guys can watch it on your own time. I don't know, that might be at 3 in the morning for you. I'm not going to be at someone's house at that time. So it's definitely very convenient for everybody. And then for my business, it's been great because I've been able to expand not just locally here in Miami, but the entire state of Florida where I am licensed. So helping more families.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I love that the 3D process. I definitely want to take that in this day and age with so much technology. It's huge to be able to do that. And I definitely agree with you. I would not be at anybody's house at 3 a.m. other than my own. So it's very important that, you give people the opportunity to look at everything at their own convenient time. So definitely appreciate you sharing that with us. And of course, I'm sure your clients appreciate that as well. And I wanted to switch gears a little bit and ask you for what I call a CEO hack. And this might be an app, a book, or a habit that you have, but it's something that makes you more effective and efficient.
So recently I went to the 10X conference here in Miami. I'm sure you've heard of him, Grant
Yeah.
Cardone.
Yeah. How was
You know
that?
him. Oh, you were there?
No, I heard about it. I was thinking about going.
Oh, okay. Okay. So here in Miami, he posted like billboards all over the place, so you couldn't really miss out on it. And so I went to that event and then I listened to his book and it was interesting. What he was talking about was basically, if I think I need to make, I don't know, 100 calls to achieve one sale, well, you really need to maybe do 10 times that amount. So I would say my secret sauce as a CEO would be not to focus so much on the outcome, but more on the activity that I can control. Like I can control every day calling 50 people or whatever the case may be, right? Following up and doing everything I need to do daily to achieve the goals I want at the end of the month or the quarter, right?
Yeah, no, I absolutely love that. And, it's the one thing you can control. You can't sometimes control all the outside influences, but you can control your activity and the effort that you put in. And it's funny, I read something similar, and I think the book was called Fanatical Prospecting. And it kind of, it stuck with me just like that stuck with you, where I think the person was like, if you make a sale out of every 100 calls, you have to reset that. So when you make 100 calls and you get one sale, then you got to get another 100. You don't get to start out from the 99. So you have to start all the way over. So it's important to kind of remember that, in the process. And yeah, I'm glad you reminded us of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And now I wanted to ask you for what I call a CEO nugget. And this is a word of wisdom or piece of advice, or if you can hop into a time machine, what would you tell your younger business self?
I would say the key to success is really in the follow-up. A lot of times as CEOs or salespeople, right, we think that, okay, we made this contact and then it's great. We should be able to close it on the first attempt of introducing somebody to who we are. But that's not reality. People need to get to know you more, trust you, right? I think that's the most important thing, trust. And sometimes, depending on the person, right, some people will be that one touch close and some others might be the fifth or sixth attempt, but definitely book in your calendar or your CRM, whatever you use, follow up to make sure that you're top of mind for people. And the other advice I would suggest is always send people thank you cards, whether it's they gave you a referral or they're a new client. It's something that people don't really do nowadays, and people really appreciate getting something handwritten from somebody. So that's always something good to add.
Yeah, I would definitely, agree with that, especially in this day and age when nobody ever does it. That's one of the best ways you can kind of break through the noise is to do that. And, following up is definitely key because a lot of times it takes, 7 or 8 touches before somebody even becomes a client, let alone, after the process, after you send them the proposal and all that. So a lot of times the people that follow up are the ones that end up having the success. So being organized and having that in place is absolutely huge. So I would agree with
Yeah.
that.
A lot of times in today's society, we're used to like instant gratification.
Yeah.
So then we're not used to, okay, well, this might not be so instant. It's depending what it is that you're selling, right? Like everything. But definitely have processes in place for you to be successful. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's definitely, you're exactly right. Like the instant gratification, I think a lot has to do with social media. But a lot of times you post something, you see how many likes you get instantly right there. And we've kind of become addicted to that, but not realizing that relationships actually take time, and whether that be clients or referral partners or whatever, it takes time to kind of build that. So yeah, it definitely is not a sprint. It's actually a marathon.
Yeah, and definitely knowing in your business what is a key performance indicator or KPIs as they call it,
Mhm.
because it might be different. Like for me, if I get 20 people liking something, that's great. But what really matters is somebody actually reaches out, sends me a message or gives me a call. I'm going to consider that more valuable than if I got, 20, 100 likes on a picture or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, they say that likes never paid anybody's bills or bought anybody food. So
Right.
yes, I definitely agree with that. And those are a lot of times vanity metrics, and they don't actually move the needle as much as
Mhm.
people think. Sometimes those are more branding pieces. Sometimes that depending on, like you said, your KPIs, your strategy, just understanding what that is, but remembering that you're in business to be able to continue to grow your business, help more people, and understanding that when likes don't necessarily translate to that.
Right. Hmm.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And now I wanted to ask you my absolute favorite question, which is the definition of what it means to be a CEO. And we're hoping to have different quote unquote CEOs on the show. So Lorena, I wanted to ask you, what does being a CEO mean to you?
For me, and that's a great question, but for me, being a CEO means wearing different hats, whether that's marketing, sales, HR, sometimes, interviewing people, and definitely having a habit of not being a complainer, but a problem solver. Like I can see something's not working and I'll it's human nature to complain, right? Complain for 5 minutes about it, but then switch on my problem solving hat, because there's no point in complaining and not doing anything to solve it. So definitely being able to do different things, because if you're a CEO, that's what it means. Whether you're in a big company or a small company, you have to have your hands in different pockets, like they say.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would definitely agree with you. Like you said, it is, human nature. Sometimes when frustration happens, it's hard not to be frustrated, but it all depends on how long you're frustrated, because if you hold on to it for a year, then that's going to be a year that you've lost when you could have been working on something else and putting that energy elsewhere. So I definitely would agree with that. So Lorena, I appreciate you for taking some time out. What I want to do is pass you the mic, so to speak, just to see if there's anything additional you can let our readers and our listeners know, and how they can get a hold of you and, of course, listen to your podcast.
Definitely. Well, it's been great being on your show. Very good questions here. I would like to extend the offer I provide everybody, which is a free financial protection review. We go over a few basic questions to discover what are your needs when it comes to financial protection. And that ranges anywhere from health insurance, life insurance, retirement, and so on. But really to tailor something to you, this is no obligation, but at least it'll give you an idea of where you stand. And you can stalk me on social media by following my handle. It's Malmins22. That's MALMINS 22. You can also call me or text me, regular business hours, 9 to 5 Eastern time, 786-236-1792.
Thank you. So make sure to have all those links and information in the show notes as well. But I appreciate you and your mom for building everything you have built and taking the time you have today. And I hope you have a phenomenal rest of the day.
Thank you. Have a good day.